What's up guys, Sean here, and I think I'm a little bit late for the scheduled monthly video update, but that's okay because we've just been really busy with the game, and also babies are a lot of work. So today I've got two big things for you, the Soda Dungeon 2 beta, and I wanted to talk a little bit about our in-game economy plans. First off, apologies if this is the first you're actually hearing about the beta. It's just that my YouTube channel is usually the last to receive updates because it takes long to make videos. Although I should make better use of the community tab to do smaller, quicker updates. Assuming this video gets released on time, the beta signups are actually going on right now. So if you want a chance to get in, pause the video, go to this link, go right here to sodadungeon.com/beta, and you can sign up. And we're doing it a little bit differently this time. So with the alpha tests, it was basically first come, first serve, and we had to cut it off really quickly because we got a lot of signups. So this time we're gonna include a lot more people, somewhere between 1,000 to maybe 1,500. But we're not really doing first come, first serve. Instead, we're just gonna keep the signups open for maybe about a week, and then we're gonna pick from all the people that have signed up. We're gonna start picking people that sort of fit certain demographics. You know, so we want to make sure that we get an even mix of players across all platforms, different experience levels, and so on. So. Apologies in advance if you don't get chosen for it, but we can't really guarantee anything right now. If you have any other questions about the beta, again, just visit sodadungeon.com/beta, and we have a fax set up on the page there, and hopefully most of your questions should be taken care of there. Also, another super important announcement, we finally got a Steam page set up for Soda Dungeon 2. So if you have a Steam account and you have a moment to spare, we would super appreciate it if you could add us to your wish list. So because it's a free game, it seems kind of weird to add to your wish list. And also if you plan to play on mobile, you might not want to add it to your wish list. But the reason we'd like to tell everyone is because it just really helps us with our exposure. The Steam page kind of becomes like a unique landing spot for Soda Dungeon 2 news and updates, in addition to our other social media channels. But you know, gaining a presence there, gaining a following there just helps us all around, just in terms of showing interest for the game, general exposure and stuff like that. So every wish list addition we can get really helps us out. This is all going to be down in the video description as well, so you know, don't worry about having to pause the video and type in the URL or anything. Okay, moving on to another super important subject, the in-game economy for Soda Dungeon 2. So first off, as mentioned previously, Soda Dungeon 2 is going to follow the same basic free-to-play format that Soda Dungeon 1 did. We even, at one point in time, we did a brief poll on Twitter just to kind of feel it out if people were more interested in a paid model, like just a premium upfront one-time cost for the game. Most players wanted us, I think it was like 70 to 80% of players wanted us to keep the free-to-play format, which is what we were planning on anyway. We just kind of wanted to throw out that option and see what people thought. And everything's going to function pretty much the same as the previous game, except we want to make one small important change, and I wanted to cover that in the video here. So if you're not aware, in Soda Dungeon 1 we had a currency called caps. And caps were a strange thing because they were basically a way to fix a programming error. So when people played Soda Dungeon, if you accumulated past 2 billion gold, basically the game messed up. I didn't use the right data type to store gold in the original game, so if you passed about 2.5 billion gold, the number would overflow and you would start getting weird results. So our band-aid for that was to come up with caps. So a cap was basically a container that could store 1 billion gold. And that just meant that when you got to 1 billion in your gold in Soda Dungeon 1, we would just give you a cap and subtract 1 billion gold. So you were never overflowing the number, it was kind of getting transferred over to caps. But in Soda Dungeon 2, there is no gold limit. I finally did things right this time, so we don't need caps because you can have 1 billion gold, 1 trillion gold, quadrillion, quintillion, you know, basically infinite gold, more or less. So we don't need caps for their original purpose, but we still like caps as a currency. So in Soda Dungeon 2, we're testing a feature where we have basically converted caps into the new premium currency for the game. In Soda Dungeon 1, part of our free-to-play model was that you could basically spend 99 cents to unlock or max out any of the upgrades. In some cases it was $2 or $3 depending on if it was like the magic clock or a premium class or something like that. So in Soda Dungeon 2, a purchase that would normally cost $1 now costs 100 caps. And you can buy 100 caps for $1. In fact, the whole process is pretty seamless, and if I hadn't explained it to you right now, you might not even have noticed that we're doing it that way. Which brings us to the obvious question, why do it at all? So here's a fun fact. Every single purchase in Soda Dungeon had its own entry into our item catalog. And I don't mean the in-game item catalog, I mean on the back end, basically our catalog of what we are offering to the player for them to purchase. So, for example, if we wanted to let someone buy the magic clock, we would have to go into the back end. Let's say we went to, to the iOS, to the Apple Store back end, and we have to say, okay, here's the magic clock. It costs $2. Here's what it does. And this is now available to purchase. And so if that was the purchase, then we had to do that for each platform. But then we also had to do that for each language. So because the game is available in 5 different languages, it's expected that when someone looks at the item catalog or the purchase comes up in the game, that it would be translated into their language. So very quickly, one purchase turns into 15 different item entries into the catalog in order to suit each platform. Basically, it just turns into a lot of extra work for us, because if we then want to update the game especially, and we want to add a new purchase, then we have to go through all the time to create that purchase metadata and include it into all of the item catalogs, and it's tedious. Instead, we came up with caps as kind of the middleman. So every upgrade in the game is now priced in terms of caps. Well, it still has its gold cost. I don't want anyone to think that we're only charging that you can only get upgrades for money, because we've never done that. But every upgrade, like Soda Dungeon 1, has its gold cost. But now instead of a dollar amount, it's just in caps. So if you want to purchase an upgrade with real money, all you have to do is ask the user, okay, would you like to purchase 100 caps, or 200 caps, or 300 caps, or basically whatever the item's cost is. So I just want to stress really quickly right here that this is something we're trying out in the beta. This is not necessarily a finalized system. It would help us out a lot if we can stick with it, and I think once you see it in the game, you'll understand why we did it, because it simplifies a lot of things. And I also want to point out that we're not, right now you can't buy more caps than you would need, and you don't end up with extra caps, right? So it's not like we're asking you, we're not like, hey, can you spend $5 on 500 caps just so you could get a 100 cap purchase? Like, we don't want to do that kind of thing. If people like the system, if they understand what we're doing and they're okay with it, then we can expand that kind of in the same way that we did relic tokens for Soda Dungeon 1. So, with relic tokens, you could buy a bundle of tokens, and, we do the normal thing where if you buy a larger bundle of tokens, you get a discount on them, and you could use those to level up your relics. So again, if the system proves to be something that people like, then we can explore other options with it. So I actually want to show you guys how it works in the game right here. So I'm going to pop over and open up my file. And just to show you, how it's almost identical to Soda Dungeon 1, let's just say we go into the upgrades. This is a new upgrade menu we're working on. It doesn't have all the art quite finalized, but down below you can see the 2 purchase buttons, just like we've always had, and you've got your gold cost, and then you can choose to max out for 100 caps. And you can see that we have no caps in our inventory. So if we choose to max out here with the caps option, it just says you don't have enough caps. Would you like 99 cents of them for this item? And that's pretty much all there is to it. You either say, you can cancel, or you say yes, and that would proceed with the standard pop-up, in-app purchase dialog. So it's pretty straightforward, and right now, like I said, we don't even have a way for you to purchase additional caps. Now, if anyone is curious about how we restore purchases, that's a very good question, and we've taken that into account as well. So anytime you actually purchase caps with real money, we track that separately, basically on the server and in-game, and we compare the 2 values to make sure they stay synchronized. But if you need to restore purchases, this time you won't get your exact purchases back. You would just get, so if you started a new file and you needed to restore them, you would just get the amount of caps back that you spent previously. And then you could spend those caps on either the same purchases or different ones. We've also introduced the ability to, so I can send you caps. So if something happens with the purchase, or there's an issue or someone needs a refund, we can still process a refund, but I can also use the in-game mail system to actually send you a bundle of caps and say, here's 100 caps for your inventory, and then you can spend them on whatever you need. Now, hopefully that won't be a huge issue, because we're also taking additional steps with this game to really preserve the save file. In the previous game, we had our cross-platform save system where you would upload a file and you would get a code that you could use to download or basically back up your file with. This time we're going to make use of the actual cloud platform, like whatever platform you're playing on, we'll make use of that platform's cloud services. So, Apple's iCloud or Google Drive or Steam Cloud, we're actually going to basically do automated backups to the cloud for you. And then on top of that, we're still going to add in our own file transfer system that can be used to transfer files and then, if possible, do backups with that too. So if all goes to plan, your file will be backed up automatically in a couple different places, and hopefully we never have to deal with lost save files again. But easier said than done, I suppose. So that's about all I wanted to cover today, just kind of a quick little video to get back into the groove of things. I will try to do the next update video a little sooner, hopefully a little sooner than 5 months, I think was the last one. It probably still won't be on the 1 month schedule, just because now that we're in beta, things are going to get really busy, and we're not quite in the home stretch to release, but we have a lot of stuff coming up on our plate. So I just want to make sure we have time to take care of all that. And I'm sure at the end of the day, you guys would rather have us put that time toward a better game than extra video updates. So if you guys have any additional questions about the economy or anything else of the game, just leave them below in the comments. I'll do my best to respond to them. And other than that, I will catch you guys next time.